What's up folks, this is Pratt and I'm back with another video. Now in true Mac fashion, I have to dress up because you can't talk about a Mac, you have to dress up, right? So as long as I've known myself, I've always been using like some form of Windows solution, some form of Windows system. There was this one time when I was attending school in the US that I used an Apple desktop, a Macintosh, big blue or yellow or big orange looking thing at the time, but that was my first introduction to an Apple. I mean, here and there we would experiment with a Ubuntu distro or Linux distro or something like that, but it was basically around Windows. In 2019 I got my hands on what you would say, it wasn't my MacBook, but it was basically my indicator that I needed to step away from the world of Windows and step into the world of Mac. So yeah, for this video I'll be talking about like one of my personal favorite MacBooks ever made in history. And I mean, people rave about this thing. If you go on YouTube right now, you can still find people talking about this particular model with a lot of respect, with a lot of love. We're talking about the 2015 15-inch MacBook Pro. So you know the usual, grab something drink, grab something eat, and let's go folks. Ready up. So yeah, long story short, I was always using a Windows system until 2019 I get a MacBook Pro in my life, right? The 2015 15-inch MacBook Pro is again one of my personal favorites. It's one of the best designs Apple has ever made. I think because of the reviews, because of the feedback people gave Apple over the years for the MacBooks that they made between 2016 and 2020, they listened to the feedback and go back and draw some design inspiration from the 2015 model to make the 2021 model of the MacBook Pros. So the 2015 model definitely one of my favorites. For starters, in terms of processor, it comes with a 2.5 or 2.2 GHz Intel Core i7. You can turbo boost it from 2.2 GHz up to 3.4 GHz. Comes with 6 MB of L3 cache. It's a quad core that is hyper threaded, so it's almost like a 8-core processor. It's quad cores with 8 threads, so the 8 threads act like 8 different cores, right? Yeah, kind of technology right there. It had 16 gigs of RAM, so you won't be short of RAM. It has a 2880 by 1800 native resolution screen at 220 pixels per inch. And the screen is extremely bright. It has 300 nits of brightness. Comes with dual graphics, so it has the AMD Radeon R9 M370X with 2 GB of GDDR5. Now, those Intel laptops had a little program on it called Boot Camp that you could install a copy of Windows and then, you know, boot up the laptop. You don't necessarily have to boot into macOS. You could boot into Windows. So imagine booting into Windows with that GPU like right there. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Now, to most people who want to be like, again, on the bleeding edge of technology, they might not necessarily go for that. The M1 processor, in all honesty, the M1 line, M1 Ultra and M1 Pro and whatever them have, run circles around that i7 processor, to be totally honest. However, in real life work, in real life situation, that does not make a difference. It came with a headphone jack, 2 USB 3 ports, 2 Thunderbolt 2 ports, MagSafe 2, a 720p FaceTime HD camera, Bluetooth 4.2, and it is expected that the battery life should last up for about like 9 hours or such. But I've seen cases where the battery life is like around 3-4 hours, depending on what you're using it to do. So bear that in mind. No, I said it was my favorite, but I don't think I explained why it was one of my favorite. The screen is extremely clean, the resolution is clear. Apple has this thing that they call Retina technology that they implement on their devices. That basically prevents you, or you can't see the pixels when with that resolution. It's not as high some of the times, but it's good compared to the rest of the competition out there. It's good. The keyboard, I have to rave about the keyboard. Like everybody raves about the keyboard. It's not just a coincidence. It's not just a YouTube thing. It's comfortable. It's backlit, so you can use your machine in the dark. There's some amount of light bleeding around your keys, but that's not really like a big deal or anything. Apart from the keys not being capped, apart from the light that bleeds from the keys, Using the keyboards is an awesome feeling. You feel the keys pressed down, it's the keyboard just functional. The butterfly switch keyboards on the 2016 and up MacBooks, headache, absolute headache. I have a 2017 13-inch MacBook Pro, and trust me, the keyboard is one of my biggest headaches. I'm typing something and you think a key press, it didn't press, or some of the times like the smallest amount of dust can get under your keyboard and cause it to seize up or some crap like that. But the keyboard on the 2015 MacBook Pro, absolutely brilliant. It just works. This was the first model also that came with the Force Touch trackpad, yeah. And for anybody that uses a Force Touch trackpad, once you get the feel of it for the first time, you don't necessarily want to go back to what is available on the Windows counterpart. But I think it was because of the Force Touch trackpad. You had other brands upgrading their trackpads to the whole same glass surface, no actual moving motion or anything. The Force Touch trackpad, it doesn't actually press down. When you press it, it has like this vibrating thing. They call it a haptic engine. So the haptic engine vibrates underneath the trackpad, if you give it that touch feeling, but you don't actually press it down. So you're not actually damaging or working out like a button or anything like that, which is absolutely brilliant. Alright, you see, MagSafe in my opinion is the best charging solution for any laptop. When you have this magnetic cable that just connect to your laptop, so if for whatever reason you should happen to yank it, you just pull off the cable, you don't have the laptop going with it as well, right? The 2015 model had the MagSafe cable connection, a big plus in my book. Also, it had ports. It had a SD card slot, it had USB, like full USB type A ports, you had Thunderbolt 2 ports, you had headphone, you had ports. You didn't have to live the dongle life where you have to walk up and down with a dongle everywhere and plug in. You had your ports, so you could plug in a regular size USB. You could plug in 2 USB devices at the same time with your charger and an SD card with a headphone jack. Like everything from 2016, from Apple to this whole USB Type C mumbo jumbo. You have to be walking up and down with dongles just to have like the basic functions of like a port, and I absolutely hate that. Me hate that. I like to have ports on my laptop, right? Thank God for the new models. Thank God for the new 2021 models and further. Then put back the HDMI port, because that was the next thing. Like, you had to buy a dongle just to get basic HDMI, like for an external display, which was a headache, because sometimes these things don't work. Just to have a built-in HDMI port where you can just connect your HDMI cable and you have your monitor. Just that basic function alone, that was necessary, that was needed. So glad them put it back. The 2015 model had a SD card slot, so you could put in your SD card, you could put in your USB drives or anything at all or whatever. You're good, you're gonna roll. So that was another reason why I liked that model. The form factor was also cool. It wasn't thick like the previous models. Well, to be honest, from 2013 they were doing like some thinner models, but they didn't have the Force Touch trackpad. So the 2015 model coming with the whole Force Touch trackpad kind of thing. It had the ports, high resolution screen, dual graphics, and the drive could be swapped. You could actually take out the SSD in there and swap it out and put in a larger drive. Some of the laptops from 2016, 2017, you could change out the drives. The A1708 models, I was able to change out the drive and put in a higher capacity drive. So I had like a 256 native Apple drive in there and swap it out, put in a 512 NVMe drive in there with an adapter. Works perfectly. I don't know what convinced Apple to just make everything soldered onto the RAM, the hard drive, everything soldered onto the one motherboard, going up from 2016, 2017, all the, like even now with the whole M1 situation or whatever, like I'm stressed out. In terms of sound quality, the newer models from the 2015 version, I would say have better sound quality, and that's probably because like a speaker update or some audio update or something. However, the 2015 model compared to any other laptop, any other brand at the time, even now some brands have laptops with their audio solution, the 2015 MacBook Pro will still run circles around those laptops. The audio, I don't know where Apple get their audio from, their audio solutions, them speakers or whatever. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. A MacBook laptop can sound like a surround sound system in the right environment. No capping. And the 2015 model is no different. The only things I think will rival it at this time are newer MacBooks. My 2017 13-inch MacBook, in my opinion, I think sounds better than the 2015, but still, it still sounds good. Most people know that you use like a MacBook Pro if you're doing any form of DJ work or video editing or content creation. Like that's just like the standard, the industry standard, Apple stuff. They just work for content, right? And the 2015 15-inch, honestly, if I could still get one right now, I would buy one right now. The only drawback is that the processor that is on board for those models is a bit older than the newer models that they have now. So it's at least 8 years old now. So if you're a kind of person that is worried about the age of the laptop, or like you want to be at the bleeding edge of technology, then that wouldn't necessarily be for you. However, if you're the kind of person that doesn't worry about that sort of thing, and you like something that works, you like something that you can modify, you like something that you can adjust or tune to the very least, even the hard drive space at your will or your whim, then yeah, this is a laptop for you. Another drawback is that the Force Touch trackpad isn't as large as what you'd find on the newer models. So on the 2016 laptops and going up, the trackpad is somewhat larger than, well, not somewhat, it is noticeably larger than what you find on the 2015. But that still, again, does not stop the functionality, because most of the time you don't, unless you've used a larger trackpad, you won't even realize the difference. Also, what I loved about this model, I think it's the last model to have the glowing Apple logo in the back of the laptop. Now, they replaced the glowing Apple logo with this metallic aluminum looking kind of thing. It's cool, yeah, right. But I personally preferred when you had like, you open the laptop and you see that Apple logo start glowing at the back. Yeah, like everybody knows say I use one Apple. Yeah, kind of. The glowing logo, tough. I rate it, really rate it. I hope in the future they will do something similar to that, as I really like that feature. I don't know if people usually update them now. I think people update them when selling them. But if you should buy a brand new 2015 MacBook Pro right now, by default you'll be getting something like macOS High Sierra on it. Now High Sierra is old, a few generations in the back. You had Mojave, you had Big Sur, you had Monterey, you had a few of them that come after High Sierra. So probably might want to upgrade it, but you can upgrade it because it can actually run the newest macOS out there right now, macOS Ventura. Even in this day, it's still pretty much relevant. I'm telling you, if I had the money, I would still buy another 2015 MacBook Pro. It's that good. It is that good. So 16 gigs of RAM, 2.5 or 2.2 quad-core i7. You can upgrade your SSD solution. You have a lot of ports. You have all the ports that you need. 15-inch screen, 720p camera. Yeah. My personal favorite, as I said, is the dual graphics one. However, I've found that those tend to have a decreased battery life. I don't know if it's because of the dual GPU setup or whatever, but the battery life on those don't really last too long. You have to use a machine with like a charger. So separate and apart from that, you can't lose with that. Cannot lose with this. I would still recommend these over anything new, over anything from 2017, 2018 that Apple made, to be honest. I would still recommend them. They might not be as fast, but as far as functionality goes, they're right up there. So yeah, that's my review of the 2015 15-inch MacBook Pro. So you know the usual, like the video if you like it, dislike the video if you dislike it, and click on the bell notification to know whenever I post another video. Hit the subscribe button because that really helps. It helps to grow the channel, and I'm trying to grow the channel here. So yeah, hit the subscribe button, like the video, so the YouTube people them can know say yeah, you know, like my video, and the little algorithm thing can go and make a rhythm and build up a rhythm and have more rhythm, you see me? Tropical rhythm. Straight. Yeah. Big up on yourself. I'll see you guys in the next one, and I have a lot more content to forward. So keep an eye out. Alright? Peace.